boys and girls. Today we're going to read a story titled Froggy Gets Dressed. And this book was written by Jonathan London. This is the cover of the book. This is the back of the book. And this is the spine of the book. That's what holds all these wonderful pages together. So let's find out what happens in this story. Froggy Gets Dressed. It was cold. Froggy woke up and looked out the window. "Snow! Snow!" he sang. "I want to play in the snow." "Go back to sleep, Froggy," said his mother. "Don't you know frogs are supposed to sleep all winter? Wake up when the snow melts." "No, no," cried Froggy. "I'm awake, I'm awake. I want to go out and play in the snow." So Froggy put on his socks, zoop, pulled up his boots, zip, put on his hat, zat, tied his scarf, zwip, and tugged on his mittens, zum, and flopped outside, flop, 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 into the snow. "Froggy!" called his mother. "What?" yelled Froggy. "Did you forget to put on something?" Froggy looked down. "Oops!" Froggy cried. "I forgot to put on my pants." He flopped back inside, flop, 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 tugged off his mittens, untied his scarf, took off his hat, pulled off his boots. He left his socks on and slipped his pants on. Zip! He pulled on his boots, zip, put on his hat, zap, tied on his scarf, zip, and tugged on his mittens, zum, and flopped back outside into the snow, flop, 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 flop. "Froggy!" called his mother. "What?" yelled Froggy. "Did you forget to put something on?" Froggy looked down. "Oops!" he cried. "I forgot to put on my shirt." "And your coat," added his mother. He flopped back inside, flop, 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 tugged off his mittens, untied his scarf, took off his hat. He left his pants on, and his boots, and his socks on, and buttoned up his shirt. Zut, zut, zut. Then he snapped on his coat, snip, put on his hat, zip, tied his scarf, zwip, tugged his mittens, zum, and flopped back outside into the snow. Flop, 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 flop. "Froggy!" called his mother. "What?" yelled Froggy. "Did you forget to put something on?" Froggy looked down. He had on his mittens. He had on his scarf. He had on his coat. He had on his shirt. He had on his pants. He had on his boots. He had on his socks. He reached up and, yep, he had on his hat. What could be missing? "Your underwear!" his mother laughed. "Oops!" cried Froggy, looking more red in the face than green. He flopped back inside, flop, 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 tugged off his mittens, untied his scarf, unsnapped his coat, unbuttoned his shirt, unzipped his pants, pulled off his boots, took off his socks. He left on his hat and slipped on his long johns on with a zap of elastic. Then he put one sock on, zoop. He put one boot on, zup. He tugged on one mitten, zum, and started to tug on the other. And then he just let it drop and said, "I'm too tired." And he went back to sleep. Good night, Froggy. Good night. Thank you for joining me.